Morning and welcome. I've been away for a couple weeks on vacation. You may not have known that because I have been recording them all. I recorded them before I left. My name is Denise Kyle, Creative Memories Advisor in Norman Beach, Florida. It is June 30th and we are working on card 26. We are halfway through. So I'm going to be putting out a poll to see, have you completed all 26 that we've completed? How many? Are you keeping up? Are you watching videos? Just so that I know if you're out there and if you're following along. So let's look at my desk. I got my new layout studio, so I'm going to use it today. So it's kind of a little bit different of a layout. And sorry, I can't get my laptop out of the way, and you can kind of see some of my equipment. I'm going to try to get those out of the way too, so you can still listen to me. But I will be trying to zoom in so that you can see my desk and not always see the studio in the background. So today we're gonna play around a little bit. So today's theme is using the word together. So you could cut it with your Cricut, you can use ABCs. I found some laser cuts. Sorry, I was playing with the camera. I just don't know if this is the right angle, but I found some laser cuts that had together. I do have kind of set out on my layout studio at the back. So I have mine at let's see what I have mine set at less than 60 degrees. So I have mine even higher than that so that it kind of fits. It's all the room that I have. This is my entire desk. So if you haven't got this one at the layout studio yet, I think the blue might be actually gone. And I ordered the blue for a reason, because don't cut on your layout studio. Your cutting is done on your mat. So I wanted a different color to remind me not to do that. It does come with the ruler that sticks on. Supposedly people have compared this to the other ones. I know a lot of my customers do have something similar to this already. This is supposed to be lighter than that one. The magnets are supposed to be stronger. There are some of the same similarities between them. I've heard people talk about, why, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit, why the numbers, right, when we're looking at the regular mats, we always have 1 to 12 up on the left hand side and then 12 to 1 on the right, but it's opposite on the right side. But that is the way the other one is also, and actually it lines your numbers up when you're looking at them. So I'm loving my layout studio, thinking it's going to keep my desk cleaner. And I won't be losing pieces. You may not see me all the time putting things up here when I cut. And if you don't like this view, let me know. This is like my first time, and trying to see if I can, zoom in so you can see my desk better when I'm cutting. So we'll try this one today, and we'll see how it goes. So today, again, I said it's using the word together. I did put up the little video from home office that goes with the QR code. I am going to use the Coastal Shores project recipe, and we're back to working on some of my Arizona pictures that I kind of took a little break from for a while because it kind of didn't fit in with the themes. I do have some embellishments that I have stuck on my layout here, the cardstock I'm going to use, and I'm going to do this project recipe a little bit different because, when it says, cut, use the reverse, well, what if you don't have those papers, and but you still want to use the collection? So I am using, of course, Copper Canyon, and I have so many different little pieces left that I'm trying to use up. So I'm going to try a little bit different. I'm going to cut the sizes per here, but I think I'm going to be using some little pieces to do that. And then I'm going to try to put them up on my layout studio as I cut. So first thing we're going to need is our 12-inch trimmer. And you're going to need a border punch. So in this one for Coastal Shores, they use the crab. I am going to use, and you know what, I do not have them labeled, so I do not remember the name of all my border maker cartridges. So let me just get that one that I'm going to be using. So you do want to knock out like the crab was. So I've got two of these. I don't know, one was a chevrons. I'm thinking I'm going to be using this one for that So again, I don't remember the name. And I do have the layout mat also, so it kind of keeps my, this is my workstation. Let me just zoom back out and take a little bit of time. So this is my entire workstation, and you can actually see my back wall. This is kind of what I use for when I'm recording. So it's good. It takes up the whole my whole desk that I'm working on. So let's get cutting. Enough about that. But if you're losing the layout studio, let me know. Let me know how it goes, and let me know if this view is good enough, because I will try to reset things up. So you're going to need 2 pieces of paper for your background. I use 2 sheets of cardstock, and then you need 3 designer sheets, or a combination of 3 designer sheets. And I don't know, like with this view, the way the camera is, if you can actually see this properly. I can't zoom in anymore, so we'll figure out how you can see that. Again, the project recipe is up on my Scrapbook with Denise Facebook group in the files. And so let's get going with this one. So the first thing we're going to do, paper 1. So I was thinking paper 1. A is going to be our border, but I'm going to cut that out of a different paper. C and D, I'm going to cut out of this darker paper. So, and I made myself some little notes. I'm still going to cut all the pieces, but it's going to be out of multiple papers. So this we're going to cut at, and it does have a little bit of a direction. I'm going to cut that 2 inches off the top, and that could be for a different project. And then out of this 10-inch piece, we're going to cut it at 5. So we're going to have a 10 by 5 and a 10 by 7. And then I'm going to put it right on my layout studio. So the 7-inch piece is going to go on the left-hand side, and because I have my pictures there already. And this will go through a couple sheets of, like I have picture and paper here. So it will go through multiple papers and pictures. Sorry, concentrating. I was going to see if I could zoom out so you could kind of see what I'm doing in the background. And sorry about the rest of the mess. I got to figure out how I can get rid of that. And then on the left hand side, oh sorry, this is the right hand side. And look, I can see exactly where I'm putting it. So I have it at the 1-inch mark. You could bring out your ruler. And I guess I'm getting more into the picture. You could get out your ruler to put across there to line them up, but I'm not worried too much right now about lining things up. And these pictures I need to cut down, because on here they're 4x4 photos. I have not cut them yet, so I will do that later. Okay, so we have those 2. So I have A and B cut. I don't know yet what paper I'm using for E and F, and that would be these 2 outside pieces. But for A, sorry, let me go back here. See if I can figure out how to get this on the camera for you to see. So here A is what we're going to punch, and then we're also going to cut that, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more to my desk. So let's cut that with our border maker. And we are going to cut this in half, or actually not in half. We are going to cut it to match the 5 and the 7 inches at the top there. So let's cut our border out. And it's supposed to be 2 inches when we're done. And I don't know if I'm using the beige side or the teal side. But let's cut this out. I was hoping this one would work. I have a little cheat sheet of what these are all called, but I don't have it handy. I mean, you could keep these little pieces if you wanted them, so I'll keep those. And then this is going to be 2 inches. So we're going to cut this at 2 inches. And then we're going to cut it at the 5 and the 7. So I want because my 7 inches over here. So I'm going to cut this at 7 so that my pattern goes across the page. So I'll have the 7-inch and the 5. Oh, that was actually wrong because they're going to go over here. My bad. This one's going to go here. Actually, I'll put my little title there. And then this one goes on this side, so that doesn't go on top. It goes opposite, and it doesn't matter. It kind of still matches up. There we go. And this will go. It still needs some mats. Okay, so let me scroll out so you can kind of see how I'm doing that as I go along. So I'm kind of laying it out as I go along. And it actually keeping the pieces together on the layout. I'm not losing them like I always do. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to cut, so we've done A, B, and C out of 2 different sheets of paper, right? And again, you couldn't see what I was doing. I'll get used to this, right? So we've got that out of 2 different pieces of paper versus out of 1. So now we need to do designer paper number 2, and that's going to be what goes along the edges here. And I had a whole bunch of pieces, but none of them are big enough to cut in half. So I'm going to leave E and F for now. I'm actually going to leave designer paper 2, and I'm going to jump down here to designer paper number 3, which I'm going to go back and use the one that I cut A out of. So let's go back to the paper that I used for these pieces here for C and D. I'm going to cut K and L out of those. So this is the dark brown, and these are going to be 1/2 inch by 12. So 1/2 inch, just make sure you line it up all the way along. See if I can keep on camera. And another one at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we still have some left over. I'm going to put these on my layout studio. They are going to go, once we get that piece that's going to go along here, they will go there. So I'll just put that there. And I'll put this one over here, not kind of laid out, just put where they're going. Now what I need is my mats, M, N, O, and P. And I'm going to go back and use that same paper we cut A out of, that's at the top. And so I actually need a 9-inch piece. Make sure my paper's still 9 inches. It is. So we're going to cut this at 4.5 by 6.5 and 4.5. 2 4.5 by 6.5, 2 4.5 by 4.5. So we're going to go at 4.5, and then we're going to cut this at 6.5, which is right at the line, and then we're going to cut this one at 4.5. And we have a little piece left over. So those are the 2 mats. I'm not going to add them to my board yet. I'm just going to put them to the side. And again, here we're going to go at 4.5 and have a little piece left over. And we'll cut that at 6.5, and again at 4.5. Okay, so I have those mats. So now my big decision, as I cut this last one, my big decision will be, what do I want for the 2 pieces along the side? So let me scroll out again. So what do I want for these 2 pieces along here based on what I have left? Some of the teal on the back. So we're going to cut this at 2 3/4. So 2 3/4 times 2. And then I'm going to bring the layout studio down, and we will finish it on my desktop. And then we need some mats and some 3x3s. So this one's not going to be big enough for the 3x3. Those are going to be these 2 little pieces over here that match these 2 mats. So let me see what I have in my stash. And I don't really want to cut this paper yet. Let's get that laid out before we figure out what we want to do. The only thing I have left to cut are these 2 pieces here and these 2. But let's get this laid out. I'm going to bring my layout studio down to my desk, and then we'll go from there. So I brought it down to my desk. I could have just moved it right off of here to play around if you wanted to, because again, no cutting on the layout guide, the layout studio, but you could just take off your magnets and slide these off onto your papers once you've finished, you know, playing around. You could do that. So let's just move that. Again, getting used to this is the first time I've actually used it for a full project because I just got it, hadn't had time to play with this weekend. And then it's not that heavy and it folds up nicely. So I can't compare it to the other one because I don't have the other one. So let's get these 2 pages finished. So we go back to the project recipe. We have this piece, which is E. And see, that's the thing that I like about, and maybe I should have just kept it on there because I like to do my dry fitting and without things moving around. And as you can see, they're still all moving around, right? So maybe I should have left it on there. So we have these, and I could change it over and do it this way, and I might. This one is going to fit in there. And then on this page, again, I need to still cut my 2 photos down. We're going to line this up at the 11 and the 1. This kind of comes down a little bit, and I will use my ruler to line that up. I think I'm liking this lighter one here. This is going to go across there. This comes across that. I like this. I had this Enjoy Life. I had my title and I have my Together, which I'll figure out using. So we still don't have these mats, but what we do have for mats is we have the one that goes here. And with this photo, oh yeah, I like that. And then we have the one that goes here with that photo. And I do have my clear stickers that I will use. And then what else do we have? We have our 2 mats that are going to go here that I need to cut my pictures down. So what we need and what we don't have is the 2 mats for here, as well as these 2 little ones over here. So let me go and see what I've got that we can do for that, and I'll be right back. Okay, while I was off camera, I moved my overhead camera a little bit to see if that was a better angle. It's hard for me to move while I'm recording and talking, but I also went and got some copper shimmer, and I thought maybe I could bring some copper shimmer into these ones. Does cut back on how much of the actual background you see here, but let's bring in some copper shimmer. Actually might match the background a little bit too much, but because yeah, they won't go over here. They don't pop out enough possibly on this side. But that's where I'm headed for with this one. Again, this was all about using the word together. Again, it's card 26. And then I do have, actually, it does pop when you look on the camera, it does pop. Maybe I'll just play with that. I have some other stickers that I could use on there, but let me know what you think about the Layout Studio. Did you like seeing when I had it up on the back, putting it down? Was it just too busy? You want to go back to the old way? Give me some feedback. Thanks for joining me today, and I'd love to see what you complete. So again, post them on my Scrapbook with Denise Facebook group. You'll find this in the guide section and just post it there. I like keeping all the pictures together so that if people want to go and see card 26, you just go to the guides and you find it and you'll see everybody's completed pages. So thanks for joining me. Happy scrapping, and we'll see y'all again soon. Bye for now.